morning and welcome. Happy Friday. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the physical delivery of wealth insurance, gold and silver, and, well, nobody does it better than us. And we got Christmas coming up. Just remember, we will be open Monday and Tuesday. We'll probably close early Tuesday. You know how it is. And then we'll be off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But don't worry, you can always order at allamericangold.com on the shopping cart there. If you need to speak to us, leave us a message. And we will return those calls when we get back from the Christmas holiday. And Jason, you know, the year of chaos, boy, it is getting more chaotic. No deal. The government will shut down at midnight right now. The Republicans, you know, they tried to do the simple thing. Pretty much, hey, listen, let's keep spending where it's at. Give $100 billion in disaster relief and give the money to the farmers. But that's it. That got voted on. Now, this is not you just need to have the majority. You got to get, what is it? I think it's 60%, something like that. We got to get over 200 votes to get this thing done, well over that. But it looks like the Republicans are trying to do pretty much the same thing again today. They had 38 Republicans vote against it yesterday, so I don't know. We'll see what these knuckleheads do up there. Yesterday, remember, we had a Wall Street rally that failed right at the end. We were worried about that. That's kind of what the Dow did eke out a gain of 15 points. Today, we got what they call the Fed's favorite inflation number, which, why is it their favorite? Well, it's pretty simple. It doesn't actually track anything close to inflation, but having said that, it came in 0.1% less than expected, 2.8, which is exactly what it was last month. Now, is that anywhere close to 2? Not really, but they were expecting 2.9. The headline PCE rose to 2.4 from 2.3, but they were expecting 2.5. So I think maybe today we've got a better chance. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but we got a better chance that maybe the Dow can hold on to some gains today. We'll watch the 10-year note. The 10-year note had a miserable day yesterday. Almost got to 4.6 yesterday. Settled out at like 4.55. Right now, about 4.51. As again, I think anything that Wall Street sees here, at least in the immediate future, that says inflation isn't getting worse than quote-unquote expected, they're going to try to celebrate it. But, Jason, these numbers sound like they were great. But, 2.8 instead of 2.9 and 2.4 instead of 2.5, even though the 2.4 was higher than last month and the 2.8 was the same as last month, I guess any little win they'll take.
Well, if they can make the numbers look the way they want, so they can do another rate cut, I guess. whatever they can do. I mean, that's why can you believe the numbers, right? Can you believe the numbers?
Yeah, and again, I think that's the thing. The lack of the ability to be able to cut rates and somehow control inflation. See, those two things don't go together. Right? What goes to how do you control inflation? Well, you control inflation by stop the money printing. They want you to believe that you can control inflation with interest rates. That's not really how it works, especially, maybe you could have done it like when the debt was like $1 trillion, $2 trillion, $5 trillion. Heck, maybe even to some effect at $10 trillion. But now we're really staring the face at $40 trillion, right? That's where we're by this time next year, we're all going to be talking $40 trillion. And what we're learning is the higher the debt goes, right, Jason, the less effective this interest rate tool is. And we're seeing it play out in the bond markets right now. Now, all of a sudden, the government, right, it's a big problem. Like, what's wrong? The Democrats are like, what? We always do this. This is how government works, right? We threaten shutdowns, and then everyone gets to throw a bunch of pork in there. Now, one of the other big things, though, that Trump and his administration want, they want a 2-year moratorium on the debt limit. In other words, they don't want to have to deal with any debt ceilings for the next 2 years. And Jason, because I think they know, right? There's going to be a massive jump in debt, and they don't want to have any debt ceilings getting in the way of it. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see what these guys do. Patriot Radio News Hour, Jason and Joe. We'll be right back. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour on this Friday. Quick look in at the markets. The Dow's up 500 big ones today. We'll see. Again, I think all the action is going to be late in the day, but a better start than yesterday. Remember yesterday, it was up like 100. I think at one point it got up a couple hundred, so up 500 right now. The S&P's up 67. The NASDAQ up a couple hundred points. The 10-year note, 451 in change, 451 in change. The Japanese yen after, a brutal day yesterday, kind of stabilizing here, just below 157. Crude oil is down. Gold rallying here. So gold and silver kind of rallied at the end of the day yesterday, continuing that rally. Right now, gold's up 30, 26. So well above that 2,600 level. Silver at one point yesterday, we were talking like $28. Yeah, silver up 50 cents right now, almost back to 29.5. We still want to get silver back over 30. It didn't hold that 30, but we'll see if they can get back up. But a big move. But that's what silver does, right? Silver always makes big moves like that, but recovering from the onslaught of the other day. But again, think about where we're at. All of the governments, including our own, are facing the same mess. What do? So much of the economy now is government. So many people, a lot of people, they don't even realize that the government's behind their job, whether it's the clients and the people that use their services, and whether they're getting food stamps, rental assistance, any of the thousands of government programs. Then you have work. Well, I don't work for the government, but chances are at least some, if not all the companies you deal with, get funds from the government, billions and billions and billions of dollars that lead this. So this is an issue, because I think the elected officials, I think they do understand it. Why is it that we can't get this simple thing done? And the answer really is because they're afraid. They're like, oh, no, I need that money. Hey, whoever I represent, I need that pork money. Because if we don't get that pork money, there are going to be problems. I probably won't get reelected. And it's a whole lot. It's so big. It's so massive. This is why I keep telling you, get your butts diversified. What are you doing here? You know the signs. You're not, listen, quit acting like you're stupid. They want you to believe you're stupid. They do. It's too complicated for you. You know what? Matter of fact, turn the station, get the sports station on, right? How are the Cardinals are going to do? Oh, the Broncos blew another one yesterday, right? You know, let's call in and be up. No, take care of yourself. No one's going to look out for you. You got some people. I know a lot of listeners. You've done well. You did a good job. You got an IRA. Call us. Get some of that into gold and silver. Check out our friends over at Y-Refi. Up to 10.25% fixed rate of return, not correlated to Wall Street. Right? We kind of understand. You guys understand it. We've seen kind of the best of Wall Street now, haven't we? I mean, we're here now. I know they've got two choices, right? Spend like crazy or take it from you. And unfortunately, what we're probably going to get is spend like crazy and take it from you. I mean, that's probably what we're going to get. Get diversified. Y-Refi, 888-Y-Refi24, 888-973-3924. And Jason, a lot, people have been talking about what the central banks are doing. Remember, we talked Goldman Sachs the other day. What did they say? Oh, hey, by the way, China didn't buy 5 tons of gold. They bought 55 tons of gold. Matter of fact, it's not just China. A lot of these countries are buying gold and not reporting it. And it was brought up today as to, this was James Gorn from the Epoch Times. And here's the thing. We know that they're hedging against the dollar, right? Hey, we don't want to be as reliant on the dollar as we've been in the past. And of course, let's face it, China knows, hey, us in the United States, we're not friends, right? At the end of the day, we're competitors. And that's really the truth. We are competitors. And, of course, we've seen the United States use the dollar as a weapon, and we're going to take necessary steps. Of course, gold in China, the citizenry in gold have a much different relationship. In our country, they spent decades telling you not to buy it. Remember, all the financial planners, not all of them, a lot of them have changed their tune now, haven't they? Well, it's not horrible, but give it to me anyway. Not in China. They flat out tell their consumers, yeah, you should have some gold. But, Jason, people are now starting to wonder if China's strategy isn't just simply diversifying away from the dollar. They talk about, the dollar used to have 64% of global debt, 54% of world trade, and about 59% of global foreign currency reserves. Now, those are down significantly, especially the 59% global foreign currency reserves. That number used to be closing in on 80%. But now they're saying, is China kind of playing dumb with everybody. Oh, don't worry. No, we're just diversifying. Because remember, Donald Trump made something very clear. Hey, you better not do a BRICS currency. That better not happen. But now people are wondering if China's actual long-term strategy is to potentially back the Chinese renminbi with gold instead. And say, fine, we won't do a BRICS currency. We're just going to back our own. I don't know. But that's probably the only way, I think, for China to become a major global player as far as people accumulating Chinese renminbi. They would probably have to do that. I don't see another way. I don't see them without, backing the currency with gold, them getting, think about the euro. The euro's like 20%, and the euro's about done, right? I mean, I don't know that the renminbi could get above that 20% threshold, Jason, unless they did something like this. And people are starting to question, is that really the objective? Are they just, rope-a-doping until they've accumulated a lot more gold than people think?
It's unknown, right? It's unknown. We know that with history, the world reserve currency switches about every 100 years or so. And you would think, conventional thinking as well. It moves from one country to the next, and that's where your China, what you said about China would be logical. But we are more in a world system than we've ever been for. Is the BRICS supposed to be as like a one nation world reserve currency? Is that what they're actually aiming for? Can that even be done with too many interested parties wanting to have a bigger piece of the pie? So it's an interesting thing. There's definitely maybe the problem is that because it's becoming a world system, it's really hard to change the world reserve currency because there's not really anyone to send it to, right? Or is it something much different? And I really believe, Joe, that gold is going to be used to move us into a new world system, and then gold's going to be disconnected immediately. I don't think gold's going to stick around, and that disconnect of gold could really shove the price right through the roof.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. Jay Powell, one of the things, we didn't talk about this. One of the interesting things, somebody did ask about Bitcoin as part of the U.S. reserves. Jay Powell had a very simple answer. Yeah, that's not allowed. It's against the law. Can't do that. We're not doing that. That's hey, as long as we're in charge, right? Yeah, no, never going to happen. So interesting, right? Interesting. The things now that people are throwing up and of course mentioning other nations too. The Saudis were mentioned in this. The UAE was mentioned in this, and obviously, of course, Russia, India, right? All of these countries potentially, as we watch the BRICS expand membership. Look at, what was it? Was it Indonesia? I think it was Indonesia who said, oh, yeah, we're going to take BRICS membership. Oh, by the way, we now need to create a gold reserve. They actually didn't have one. Right? But now all of a sudden, now we got to have one. And it's going to be something where we'll see how this plays out. If this truly, I don't know what China's end goal is, right? I don't think any of us do. We can all speculate as to what it is. But if they want to be the reserve currency of the world, if that's truly the goal, I don't see how they get it done without gold. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if that's what they're doing. Kind of looks like that's what they're trying to do, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We'll wait and see. We'll see how, the dust will settle, so to speak, right, Joe, at some point. And I have a feeling a lot of the dust's going to be kicked up in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's going to, yeah, right. We said this year was the year of chaos. I wonder what next year will be. It's going to be interesting. This vote on the CR bill was already supposed to have happened. It was supposed to happen at 10 Eastern. No word on this vote. One guy who I really like, Thomas Massey, I know Jason likes him quite a bit as well. He had a novel idea. He goes, "What? Why are we trying to cram all this stuff into one bill? Why don't we just have one bill that just says, let's extend the continuing resolution," which I believe the continuing resolution is they can spend 3% more than they did last year. I think that's what it is. Let's just extend that. Let's just vote on that. Can we all agree that we need to extend it? Right? Because how could they not agree? Right? And then we can vote for a separate vote for the disaster relief, hurricane relief. We can vote separately for the farm bill. We can vote separately for all your pork crap. Right? We can vote separately for the debt ceiling. Makes sense to me. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour here on this Friday. Big sale here again today. $10 Liberties today. $13.75 for a $10 Liberty. And, of course, we will throw in, we've been doing it all week. We'll continue to do it. Throwing in an ounce of silver with it. So you get a $10 Liberty and an ounce of silver for $1,375 at 800-951-0592. Congratulations. There was a bunch of people took advantage of that silver move yesterday. What a crazy move that was. I mean, right now you're saying, oh, well, Joe, but it's only up like 40 cents. Yeah, but silver's up $1.50 from the lows of yesterday, and it's got a long, long way to run as well. And gold, yesterday I think it officially closed at $25.95, but now well back above 2,600, and I think it's the rally will continue. Did you see this? So Macy says they're going to shut 65 stores after Christmas. Remember Big Lots? What was it? I don't know, 90 days ago or so. Big Lots, 1,340-some locations, filed for bankruptcy. Said they were going to shut 300 stores. Then it was 500 stores. And then they said they had a deal to get bought out by a hedge fund. That deal has fallen apart. Looks like Big Lots, Jason, going out of business. 27,000 people are going to be out of work, as they said that apparently they just didn't have enough stuff for it to be worthwhile. When they actually counted the inventory of what was remaining at Big Lots, the investment company was like, yeah, nah, that's not going to be enough. And so another big, I mean, these are big companies, 1,300 plus stores 90 days ago, going to have none left. So yesterday, we heard about McDonald's French fry supplier talking about everything costs more, sales are down. Today, ConAgra, they are a big brand in the supermarkets. Bird's Eye, Slim Jim. I mean, so many of the products in on the supermarket shelves are coming from ConAgra. They were out today saying, yeah, we now expect prices to go up by at least 4% or more. To give you an idea, 90 days ago, they said 3%. Now they're saying 4%. And And Jason, I'm just wondering, what are they going to say in 90 days from today, right? Oh, wait, make it 5%, right? Because we know the Trump tariffs are going to have an effect in a lot of ways, but very interesting how we're starting to hear from, and this is food. All the big food producers out there talking about costs, saying, hey, we were wrong. We thought costs were going to come down. We're wrong. Costs are reaccelerating again.
I mentioned it yesterday, that food bank, right, saying that $31,000 more just this year on cabbage. It's just one of their food items. Just cabbage. So, you're talking French fries, right? I mean, it's the same thing. It's food and costs going up. So, it makes me think that the inflation numbers that we're looking at are somehow being fudged really badly, because real inflation sure seems like it's still running, and it sure seems like it's getting ready to blow up again. This next year of spending by the government and the printing that's going to have to go on, especially if things start to fall apart. I mean, we were down 1,100 points the other day on the Dow. I mean, you get a string of those going on, and things are going to get serious real quick, Joe.
Yeah, and here's another one. What's another one of these signs? This was a really good one. CEOs leaving. That's also another sign that the tops are in, because CEOs, right? They love it when things are great. You got to remember, they get all the stock options, and they have these salaries that aren't real big, but the money is all in the options on their stocks. And they tend to like to step down when they feel like, okay, yeah, my stock's probably not going to do so great anymore. U.S. public companies announced that 327 chief executives have changed so far this year through November. That is more than any other year going back to the financial crisis. And it's up almost 9% from last year. So Jason, Challenger Gray and Christmas is like, hey guys, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but CEOs are resigning at a record pace in 2024.
They did so in 2019. We remember very much, saying, look, the CEOs are leaving. They're leaving.
Great call. 312 that year. 312. So that, by the way, that was the biggest number going back to 2010. That 312, which was 20. Remember 2019, there was the big panic. And then, of course, we got COVID, and trillions and trillions of dollars flooded the market. Just to give you an idea, like 2021, 2022, there wasn't even 200. So a big increase. Another one of those signs, right? When we talk about how close to the top are we, these are the things that you look at, and that's a lot. A lot of CEOs coming out and saying, see you later. By the way, companies that could be affected from lack of government handouts, Boeing gets the most, followed by Intel, Ford, General Motors, Micron, Amazon. Why is Amazon getting money, right? Do they need it? And again, of course, Amazon will take it. Alcoa, Foxconn, Texas Instruments. I mean, the list is Tesla, Walt Disney. Yeah. See what I'm talking about? The government's everywhere. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour on this Friday. $10 Liberties. $13.75. By the way, gold's up 30 plus today. Silver's up 41, $13.75, a $10 Liberty, and a ounce of silver. You heard it right. Again, we've been down near spot all week long, and we're going to finish it strong here. 800-951-0592. Okay, so new update. No vote. But according to Jake Sherman, the following, they are going to split the bill in pieces. So they're going to do the Thomas Massie. A CR till March is right now what they're saying. They're going to have a separate bill for the disaster relief and a separate bill for the aid to farmers. There will be no debt limit vote. That was one of the things that the Trump administration was looking for. So, Jason, if nothing else, here's what's going to happen. I don't even know if this will work, right? Because my guess is none of the Democrats will vote for it. That's just my guess. Will they vote for disaster relief? Yes. Will they vote for giving money to the farmers? Yes. Will they vote for the CR as it stands? I don't know. But they could always just do the, let's just continue it to March or continue it. They can even say, let's just come back to this at the end of January. So there are other options here, but it appears that they decided that Thomas Massie was the smartest person in the room, and let's just vote for these things separately, Jason.
It sounds like somebody wants to put something in, was push it to March. It sounds like they'll only vote for it if something, everyone's got their favors to pay, right? So if everyone gets their favors, we'll continue it to March with all the favors that we need to add. It's all the same. We'll add it with the favor. And then, of course, they won't tell us in the news the extra added. But that's what it sounds. Sounds like those two things you're talking about, that blows it up. So they'll separate that out, and then all the favors will probably just be slowly and quietly added before they get the vote they need.
This is why I hate politics, right? Everybody wants leverage on somebody else. My guess is keeping the debt limit out of there. Then the Democrats in March, when they've got to do this, can say, well, give us all the pork we wanted, and we'll give you the debt limit, right? Why do I feel it's going to be something like that, right? That's just, that's just me, but I think it highlights what Jason and I have been saying. Why do they want, remember when the debt limit used to be a number? They used to have it be a number, right? 5 trillion, 6 trillion. They used to raise the debt ceiling. When I started here, we're going to raise the debt ceiling by $400 billion. Right? Now that's a month. Right? That gets you a whole month. Right? Then after the financial crisis, they started printing so much money, they changed it to a date. You're allowed to spend as much money as you want until this date. Now, a lot of people want to get rid of the debt limit. Right? Well, let's just get rid of it. And, of course, any rational person would be like, wait a minute, if we get rid of it, then what, you're just never going to talk about it again, right? At least now they're forced to at least talk about it, but they don't put in, think about this, they want a 2-year increase in the debt ceiling. What are we talking about? Another $6 trillion? Before we talk about it again? And of course, it kind of highlights to me that I think the Trump administration kind of knows, hey, at least early on in the administration, we're going to be jacking some debt up, and maybe towards the end, we'll start having it go the other way. But, Jason, all indications to me, inflation's going to go a lot higher because these clowns, They can't help it. They just want to spend money. They just can't help it.
And the rate of inflation and the velocity of how much more they need to spend is just going so fast, especially with the interest on the debt. It's going to break, and I think everybody wants to get their piece before it breaks, right? So it's how a bubble works.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
the smart ones want to get off the Titanic before it sinks, right?
Right, and the CEOs are bailing out, but Congress is like, well, before it breaks, I want to get mine. Right, before it breaks, I want to get mine. You know, it's interesting because when we're looking at all of these things, you're telling me that we're setting up for the worst deficits ever. There's no emergency, and we can't even do something like, hey guys, let's spend 1% less. Can we spend 1%? 1%? They got to have a bill that says we can spend 3% more. And it's still not enough. Right?
Yeah.
We want 3% more, and that's still not. Oh, and by the way, we also want all this stuff. I mean, doesn't FEMA have a budget?
It has a feeling, Joe, that a Republican's been elected. It's going to crash somewhere in the next 4 years. We got to get out. We got to get out, right? Doesn't that how that feel? Republicans in. 9/11 Bush. COVID was Trump. Here comes another one. We know that's the signal. Get out. Get out.
Get the sprinter in. This guy's going to get shelled. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason wrapping up this week. Remember, we'll be around here Monday and Tuesday of next week before we're off for the Thanksgiving holiday. But another great opportunity. $10 Liberty and an ounce of silver for only $1,375 as we close out here. Gold's up 30, silver's up 40 cents. The Dow right now up 700, right? They're hoping for no shutdown, and I guess we got better than expected inflation news, even though it was higher than last month. I guess it was less than expected. We'll take it. The problem is, when we look at these companies, Jason, none of them are saying that inflation's going down. Matter of fact, listen, Amazon got people striking right now. Starbucks, they're getting ready to strike again, right? People have stopped talking about the port workers. All they did was kick that can down to January. That's going to come back again. This whole thing about inflation's going away, Jason, it was just a bunch of nonsense. It just wasn't true. And now we're really going to start paying the price for all the evil Janet Yellen was doing, all the tricks she was playing in the Treasury markets, all come home to roost. And it starts this month. December will break a record for interest payments in the month of December. Won't even be close. We're going to slaughter it. And guess what? We're going to break those records every month next year as well and beyond.
I don't think I really understand.
There you go. You're good.
Am I there?
You're good. You're good.
People, this is me, Joe, and COVID was so much less in my mind, about a disease. I mean, all of the debt and all the economic problems, counting the housing crash, which almost destroyed the entire planet's economic system. All of the debt, all the borrowing, all the wars, all the stuff that happened up until 2020 had this huge bloated systems sitting there. And with all that debt, Joe, right, with all that irresponsibility, in 2020, America, through the Fed, printed half of all the money it's currently being used in this country was printed in that year. How do you have a 6 week market crash that takes 33% of the market, and then it bounces back less than 2 months later. It's because the money was being printed and big, wealthy people were being taken care of. I have a clip. Maybe we'll play it on the next show about America is built and bailed out and given to the winners. It says it's not here for the losers, right? That's what we're dealing with now, Joe. That's what it took. It took scare the entire planet of this boogeyman disease so that we can play economic mind games to kick the can down the path some more. Something big is going to happen. But is it going to happen in a couple of years? Is it going to happen in 5 years? There's going to have to be a change. It's completely unsustainable now. It is. The last time the debt to GDP for America was like this, World War II. That's what it was. Another economic reset. That what happened, that market crash in 2020, Joe, we just don't talk about it enough. They've done a good job of having everybody forget about it. But it was still there, and we're still dealing with it, Joe.
Patriot Radio News Hour, 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're going to come right back with the half-empty cup.